We'll be interviewing as a team.
We're here to fuck shit up.
If worms had machine guns, then birds wouldn't be scared of them. You know, it's
They're here.
Yo. Welcome everybody to Roto Slappers Fantasy Football. It's your boy Streets. We are live. It's Wednesday night. I am not alone. I got a new funny video to play for our guy right here, but you know him as the green one on X, Mr. High Stakes, Mr. Rat Pack, I learned, Mr. Frank Sinatra himself, Sean.
And more, much more than this, I did it my way.
What's up, Sean? How you
song
doing?
Ever. Doing great, man. How are you?
I'm good. I learned that about you in Vegas.
Yes, sir. At the piano bar, SFB, man. It's, Kenny, he can kill it. So
you hate a lot
anybody
of
can sing that
like
song. That. Oh yeah, I love the Rat Pack. I love Frank. I was just born in the wrong decade.
So I was going to say, you might be someone like reincarnated that was born in 1912.
Right.
That's
exactly. That's exactly it.
How was your week?
It's been good.
Good.
Ever since we got back from Vegas, it's just been working. 4th of July was fun. Other than that, just counting down the days till the season, man. I'm so ready. It's just every day. It's football. Let's get it going. Training camp's opening in a couple weeks. I got my pros versus Joes on FFPC on the 28th. That Sunday night. I can't wait. It's my first time. It's going to be a great challenge. Very exciting.
You drew a tough division, huh?
Oh,
or you asked for a tough division?
The thing is you had to pick time slots. And I picked Sunday night. And, of course, it's got a couple of former champs, I should say. Dan Williamson's in there, overhyped sleeper on X. He's great. Great guy. His content is good. He's on Player Profiler, I believe. And then there's JJ Zachariason. Mauricio Gutierrez is on there. Bob Long, he's the host of the Expo. He's in my division. And I think Josh Hayes, the pros. And then there's another Joe in my division who's actually the favorite to win our division. He's won previous pros versus Joes. You have 7 divisions, only one winner. And the winner gets a main event entry for FFPC the following year, which is valued at about $2,000. So it's great.
Can you explain real quick what is it like? What's the setup for this? What kind of league is it? So people that
basically it's on FFPC. People that sign up for a main event, which is the $2,000 draft, you had to sign up before May 31st, and then all the names get put into a random drawing, and the pros, they all apply, and Fantasy Mojo, who runs a lot of the ADP, he's the ADP god for FFPC. He runs this whole thing. He created it, and there's 7 divisions. You have 6 and 6 pros, 6 Joes, and everyone just picks a certain draft day that they're available, and then you get slotted in. The winner of it's best ball, and then the winner of each division gets a free entry the following year. So you only have 7 winners. So it's tough, You're not guaranteed anything, but it's a good challenge. It's something I've been looking forward to. I always want to see how I stack up against the best. How is my mind versus these guys who get paid for this? Because I do not, and nobody wants to pay me for my advice. I can assure you. So it's just fun. I'm looking forward to it. So July 28th, I believe it's at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. We'll be on FFPC. I know they're going to have a bunch of guests on. My partner, he'll probably be on here with me, so it'll be a lot of fun.
Nice. Yeah, you chose a gauntlet, so that's.
Oh yeah.
To be the best though,
you got to beat the best,
right? That's how it goes.
It'll be earned. It's earned. Nothing given. That's for sure.
And then, so yeah, obviously went to Vegas. We were just talking about that too, which was a blast for me. Even it was a pleasure to meet everyone that was a part of that. as I even get through some of the comments there.
Spencer, good old Spence here. Yeah,
But Spencer was awesome. He was awesome to meet. Everybody was. It was a blast. I'm glad that I went down there for it. I'm glad I also didn't draft for that, to be honest. That seemed a little brutal. It was nice to kind of go hide and shade and not have to focus on that.
It was only 110. Not a big deal. You know.
But
it's
speaking,
dry heat.
so,
it's fine.
As I get to this now, let's do this. So let's explain. We're going to get into, obviously, we're here for 13 through 24. We're here for round 2 of the rankings. But we figured you're done, right? You are wrapped up. Your team is finished for Scott Fishbowl. So we might as well share it and see how you feel about it.
You know, I'm excited about it. A lot of people, I've gotten a little bit of grief. I've gotten a little bit of support. I try to follow the scoring. This year I decided I'm going 2 quarterbacks, so I started Kyler and Jordan Love. You know, Kyler gives you the rushing upside. I think that offense is going to be really good. With Jordan Love, I feel like the Packers offense with the receivers, it's a mixed bag of guys, but Jordan Love's going to be the recipient of so many great weapons. And Matt LaFleur's offense, I'm really high on the Packers offense this year. And in this format, the tight ends are really, really valuable. So in round 3, I took Mark Andrews. Round 4, I took Jake Ferguson. 2 guys. I mean, Mark Andrews is the number 1 target in Baltimore. As long as he stays healthy, he's going to eat. Jake Ferguson, he's the number 2 option in Dallas, in my opinion. And I think he's going to be more involved this year because they got to spread the ball around, and they're going to throw, 500-600 times. It's just the way they're built, and it's going to be one of the best offenses as well. So why not have multiple pieces of elite passing offenses? Load up on the running backs. I took a little flyer on Taysom Hill. I'm not giving up. I read a lot of blurbs about him this offseason. They extended his contract. He's got quarterback and tight end eligibility, which I really like. So, and he's going to play special teams. And in Scott Fishbowl, the scoring, you get a little bit of a bonus. He's missing there. I don't know. He was my 10th pick. I don't know why it's missing on this, but this is my team overall. Round 14, I took Josh Palmer from the Chargers. I believe he's their wide receiver 1, but I also took Lad McConkey because I figured between the two, they're going to catch the ball. Somebody's going to do something on that offense. Everyone's kind of down on them this year, and I feel like it might be kind of sneaky. You have an elite quarterback. Jim Harbaugh took that job because of Justin Herbert, in my opinion. He's got his guy locked in, and he had some success in Baltimore with Greg Roman. He had some success with Kaepernick, Alex Smith, and the 49ers back in the day. So they're not going to have the elite passing volume like some of these other teams, but I think it'll be good enough.
Where'd you take Taysom again?
14. I took him in that 10-10 right there. That's missing.
Okay. And who is 14?
That's Josh
I missed
Palmer.
that when I was trying to figure out this stupid screen share thing. Got it. So your approach was get 2 quarterbacks, even though a lot of people are saying the second quarterback's kind of nerfed in a sense if you're a passing quarterback. Right. But it is super flex, so you still need 2 of them, regardless of what people say. It kind of reminds me. I remember 2 catcher fantasy baseball leagues a lot of time. And regardless, at the end of the day, you still needed 2 of them. Even if they all kind of bottomed out at the end, you still did need 2 of them. So even though the points per game might be a little close on this, if you do have 2 top 8 ones, 2 top 6 ones here, it probably will play out. So then tight end was another big one for you. So quarterback, tight end, we know the tight end scoring, and then load up on running backs. And that seemed to be your plan here.
I punted receiver pretty far down. It's pretty bleak at receiver for me, but I'm optimistic Christian Watson gets his health issues.
Yeah, you went with the anti-best ball bro league, like the zero zero
and
wide receiver league.
And in my draft, I mean, there was a couple teams just receivers all green down the board. Every round they're taking receiver. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to chase points. So I figured there'll be plenty of volume later. I got a couple guys that I like later. I love Dontavian Wicks this year. I think him and Watson both, and Reed. I mean, that whole offense in general. Like I said, Wicks is my guy personally. So I felt like if I can get him, I have Watson. So if Watson does get injured again, or if Dobbs or Reed miss time, Wicks is going to go in there. And everyone's very high on him this year as well, for the most part. I got a couple returners in there because the special teams points matter. I don't know if I'm going to start them or not. I haven't decided, but I know one guy in my division, he was loading up. He was taking every kick returner because the scoring for that is crazy. But at the same time, I can see teams also kicking into the end zone, just give them the ball at the 35 because they don't want to take the chance with this crazy new format that they're doing. So we'll see.
That's I just thought, that was where for me, it's okay to take those chances where you took the chances for sure. Once we get past, once we're in the bench, a couple bench spots in, I'm okay with chasing maybe a returner or two at that point, depending on who's on the board. But I couldn't go all out, and I haven't drafted yet. I drafted Chicago this Sunday, so I'm still kind of just watching how everybody else is. I've seen Rashid. He went way. I've seen him go bonkers early in a couple, way too early for me, because you nailed it. I just don't know anything about kick returning, so I plan on doing this with waivers. First waiver run might be my kick return. And
that's the other thing. Right now, we don't know right now because it's so early. I mean, some of the guys that we might not even expect might be the new returners. Like, for example, Shaheed. I mean, I think he's going to be more involved in the offense, so they may not use him on special teams as much.
Yep.
And everyone's – I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm high on him as well as a receiver, but I don't know where he ranks yet as a returner. That's kind of my thought process.
Probably a safe thought process. I mean, you get the guy who pans out for you. I'm just not going to chase it. That's what it boils down to. But yeah, nicely done. Nice explanation too for your team. We're going to grade them. I'm not going to grade it now. We're going to wait.
Please don't.
Let me draft first.
Let's talk at the end of the season, and then we can grade how bad my team is or isn't.
We got to do a preseason grade. I do have some funny
Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah. Sometimes that's how it feels. It feels that way.
Oh, see, so look, that's in the 12th. I got Shaheed in the 12th. See, that's good, Spence. That's where once we get to the bench players, I'm okay with chasing that. The 6th round, 5th round stuff that I've seen is just
I've seen
no.
It's a little early. But Scott Fish was pushing that. He mentioned that in a couple tweets, I believe, where Shaheed finished in scoring last year. And I think,
and the thing, Shaheed actually could be useful. Period. If he's in his
right, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. I think guys who actually play offense and return have more, like a Marvin Mims, perhaps.
Now I got to redo this, but yeah, once I draft, we'll get a few teams on here, and we'll go through them. That'll be fun. After a little bit of rankings, Steven Spence's team.
Yeah, look forward to that.
We'll put up here.
You can start a poll, see whose team is the best.
That's what we'll do too.
I'm dead.
Now I need to get to.
But that's okay.
Let me figure out this as All right. So now we can do this. All right. Now what we're here for, we're gonna get into. To recap, we did round 1 last week, or was 2 weeks ago now?
Yeah, it was right before Vegas.
A week off because of Vegas. God, Vegas ate a week of my life after that. To recover from just
amateur hour.
Too much. I know. Well, I'm old. I'm just too old now to hang like that. But yeah, so we did round 1. We basically did our rankings 1 through 12, our first round. Now we're in round 2, so this is going to be 13 through 24. We were very, very similar on our first round. Not a whole lot of differences. Maybe where we had guys moved around might be the only difference. I think the only 2 players that are mixed matched here that were in our round 1 is I had Jahmyr Gibbs in round 1. You don't obviously have him here, and you had Garrett Wilson in round 1. Obviously, I don't. I have him here, even though I have him 12th. We did talk about that before. I kind of look at 12, 13 almost the same. You can kind of just switch them around. I have a plot when I do 12 and 13 or 12 and 13 because that's your turn usually in a 12-team league. That's why we're talking about that. So you get both of them. So I kind of group Taylor and Wilson for me right there. But yeah, so let's get into this number because I got to cut a bunch of shorts out of this. I'm already behind because of Vegas. I'm cutting shorts off the last one like I promised you I was going to do, which I didn't do. This time I will get it done. And we're going to have 24 shorts after this. Mark my word. We were 3 days late. I was all over the place after that last one. But yeah, number 13 we'll start with. Garrett Wilson is what I have. Jahmyr Gibbs is who you have. We did definitely talked about both of them on the last one because we both had them in there. So we'll briefly discuss this again. So go ahead, give your rundown on Jahmyr Gibbs and why you're taking him on that turn, basically.
For me, I think Gibbs is explosive. He's going to get carries. He's going to get receptions. He could take any short pass to the house. What's not to like about Gibbs, right? I was a little low on him last year because of Montgomery, but they proved in their offense that they can make it work for both. So I have no problem. I mean, you can take him in the first. I think he's going to move up into the 10, 11, 12 range by the time we get to full-on draft season. But, for right now, I have him at the turn, basically. You can take him at 12, 13, whatever you want. But the explosiveness is there. It's just there.
Make sure you know the platform you're drafting on ahead of time. Do a mock or two on the platform that you're always, like if it's ESPN, if it's Yahoo, if it's Sleeper. Degenerates like everyone of like us, anyone in SFB, it's a whole other ball game. If you're in the Kinko's Office League, chances, and you're playing on Yahoo, chances are no one looked at anything heading into that draft until they got to that draft. So make sure you do a mock or two on there, because if they have Jahmyr Gibbs ranked 16 or something, you could gamble it and possibly get him in the second round then, because a lot of guys go where they're ranked when it comes to that. So yeah, I agree there. I'll cover Garrett Wilson. Yeah, as long as Aaron Rodgers stay healthy, easy.
That's a big if, but you got to bank on it.
I mean, the Achilles, that's a freak injury, right? He's got it seems like all quarterbacks got hurt last year. It was just a massacre out there for pocket quarterbacks. But with a healthy Rodgers, yeah, that's a legitimate top 5 upside. I say that realistically, top 5 upside in all formats. Standard, PPR, it makes no difference. Right. I don't expect him to throw the ball a ton. They're going to use Breece Hall quite a bit, but they will, when they do throw, it's going to go to Garrett Wilson. We know how Aaron Rodgers is with his number 1 target. So should see a hefty dose of targets and not much else to say. It actually ties well into what Spence is saying here. Too low on JT. I actually have Jonathan Taylor in the first round. That's if I'm picking 12th, I'm leaving the draft with Jonathan Taylor and Garrett Wilson. That's who I'm going with right at that turn. So he has them down below here as I'm going. That's who he's too low on JT. And I'll explain why when we get to it.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I got to say, Spence, he's JT RB1 on X, formerly, I should say. Now JT was RB1, but he's realized the error of his ways. But that's okay. Still love him anyway.
No, Spence. No, Spence. That's not true. We know here. It's the first time I get to use it. Sean's the crazy.
You're crazy, man. You're crazy. I like you, but you're crazy.
See, we're the normal ones.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to what we're here for. 14. We match. We matched on like 2 in the first round, and we match on 2 in this round. It's actually kind of funny. Saquon Barkley. Go ahead. You can start this one off.
Honestly, he's in the best offense he's ever been in. Kellen Moore. I'm high on the Eagles' offense in general this year. Kellen Moore is going to take them to a new level, I believe. Barkley's going to get the goal line work more than people think. I know everyone's talking about the tush push with Hurts and whatnot, but he's been beat up. He's had a lot of nagging injuries, and I think that's why they went and signed Barkley, because they want to take that away from him. They can give him the goal line work, the short yardage work. Hurts will still get rushing. That's going to be fine. But Barkley can catch the ball. They have a great offensive line. Their defense is good. I see him eating this year. I'm a big Barkley guy this year. And in the past with the Giants, I was not. He was the guy that everybody was taking, and I was just kind of, whatever with him. But now I'm very interested in him. And I've seen in some drafts he slipped to late second. Sometimes he's gone early second. It just depends on the format, who's in the draft, But if I can get him in the second round, I'm jumping all over that.
Yes. There's a very, very high chance in a lot of redraft leagues that I'm going running back to start, just based on where these guys are going. I could very well see a Breece Hall, Saquon Barkley start for me, and then just pile on tight end and then receivers for a while after that. It's very, very plausible. And so going back though on Saquon Barkley, it cracks me up. even I've heard some. Well, Jason Kelsey's gone. What are they? Does that offense? Does the offensive line say? Even without him, it's still the best offensive line that he's ever
by
played.
far.
And are you worried about the tush push and getting touchdowns vultured? Not really. I don't. Didn't Miles Sanders have like 10 touchdowns or some crazy amount of
Yeah,
touchdowns
a couple
2
years
years
ago.
ago, even with the tush pushing around? So like, it's
Right.
another thing. He can fall right in. And Saquon, the difference there is he's much better than Miles Sanders. Let's get real here. So he can run one
by a
in
mile.
from 6, 7, 8 yards out. Right? So it's not, he
Easily.
doesn't need to be on the goal line to score a touchdown. So he might get a couple 6, 7, 8 yard touchdowns when we're doing it. So
You know,
yeah.
and another thing, they don't have anybody else in that backfield. I mean, they have Kenneth Gainwell, Boston Scott's gone.
Yeah, they paid
I
him
know
a
they
lot of
drafted,
money.
you
He's
know,
going to eat.
Will
They're
Shipley,
gonna
right?
pass the ball a lot.
You don't have to worry about a timeshare.
So yeah, I've seen some people get a little ballsy with it, and then first round for Barkley, they have him as like RB3, RB4. So that's how high are they on him. But I've also seen him, you're right, slip to the end of the second round, which is kind of crazy. I'm going to go early second round, get that out of the way, because we're going to recap why they're where they're at once we kind of get through some of these guys. But 15, that's where we changed. You have Jonathan Taylor now, who I had in the first round. This is where you're taking him, huh? So you got him right pegged with Barkley, basically.
It's user's choice, basically. You know, you get to pick who you prefer. I mean, I do like Indy. Their offensive line is really good as well, but I think Anthony Richardson's going to run the ball a little bit more than Hurts. And overall, I think that offense for Indy isn't as good as Philly, but I think he's going to be fine. You know, he's 2 years removed from being the RB1. I mean, if he could just stay healthy, and I think he's going to see some running lanes that he didn't see before. You know, we're going to have Anthony Richardson hopefully for the entire season. It's going to be wild. I mean, I can see maybe a few dump offs to him. I don't know if he's going to catch the ball as well as, you know, as a Barkley, you know, obviously the receptions, you know, with Gibbs, but for the rushing aspect, he's got, you know, 1,200 yards and double-digit touchdowns out of him. You can't go wrong with JT.
No, not at all. That's why I have
He's
him
just
first round.
steady and solid.
We've seen him
No
be
other way to
RB1 overall. It's been done. And now can be in a lethal rushing attack. So I do love me some Jonathan Taylor this year. That's why I have him as a back end first round draft pick for me. Volume should be there. Complete back. I'm not too worried about touchdowns being vultured. No. It's just yeah. I have Chris Olave in that spot. So I'm a little higher. I have him a little ahead of you. We're only by a couple spots, but I'm putting him there, and I do have him above Marvin Harrison Jr. Obviously, because he's not a rookie. That's why. And I've seen him. He's had 2 decent years. I wouldn't say he was a world beater at all in his first 2 seasons, but year 3, I do expect a step to be taken out of Chris Olave and that Kubiak offense. I expect him to be a yak machine in that offense, the way it's going to be designed also. So I see high volume, I see a lot of catches, and I see a lot of yards after the catch this year. I see a big season for Chris Olave. And even if he doesn't, he's kind of a safe floor type guy, which in the second round, there is some wild cards to it. So yeah.
Yeah, the second round is tough. I mean, you know, you never know how the first rounds are going to go in each draft. You know, it depends on the scoring, you know, all the formats and whatnot. So, I mean, I like Olave. As you can see, I have him just a couple spots lower, but I'm with you on that.
Yeah. Then we have Marvin Harrison. So probably the obviously the highest rookie we have here. So you expect a big season out of the rookie then?
You know, as a Michigan fan, watching him at Ohio State, I know what he can do. Obviously, we all know his dad was great. I've struggled a little bit with where to place him. I feel like people that are drafting him at the end of round 1, you may not get the return in value for that. But in round 2, I'm more comfortable with it. You know, later round 2 especially. But you know, the further he falls, if he does fall, I'm okay with it. For me, I like the Cardinals offense. I think Kyler being back, you know, Connor's healthy. You know, I love McBride. They have other pieces at receiver. but obviously we all know Harrison was drafted to be the guy. They're going to get the ball in his hands as much as possible. And, the sky's the limit, right? Ultimately, it's just a matter of where you take him.
Yeah. I do expect Kyler to have a pretty good year this year. And there's really only two mouths to feed in that offense, in a sense. And Marvin Harrison probably will be the number one mouth to feed. Trey McBride will be the number two mouth to feed. And after that, Michael Wilson, Zay Jones, a lot of just guys, dude, so it's nothing that's going to garner some big target share after those two. So it's heavy load, I expect, put on Marvin Harrison Jr.'s shoulders this rookie season. You are paying, though. I will admit, it is true. You're paying premium to get him because you are going to use a second-round pick to acquire him in most drafts, probably. Maybe early
or
third.
late first.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going late first.
But at the same time, that's fine. You're drafting him at ceiling, and he'll probably deliver that. It might take a couple weeks.
I do expect some big blow-up games for him. Yeah.
If he does struggle, though, 2 weeks into the season, that's going to be the number one guy to go try to get in a trade. Go find that panic owner for sure. Go find that. Yeah. Next up, you're going right into tight end then with Travis Kelce there. I have Devontae Adams still ahead of him, going right into tight end then. You expect another big season or even bouncing back to the season before out of Travis Kelce.
He's my tight end one this year. I know Laporta is great, but for me, it's Travis Kelce. I think he's steady vet. He's the number one target in that offense with Mahomes. They went and got a couple receivers to spread the field. It's going to open up the middle of the field for him so much. And I think Taylor Swift's got him reinvigorated. He's not going off the cliff yet. Not yet. He's still there. And I look forward to seeing what he can do this year. I mean, if it's a tight end premium format, which it seems like a lot of leagues are now, he's my choice as the guy. He's always going to be Mahomes' first read. They have that great connection. He's always going to find him, the goal line. And he seems like he's always wide open. It drives me nuts, especially as a 49er fan, having gone against him in the Super Bowl twice. I have to respect him. I don't like the guy, but he's great. He is who he is. So your spot,
I agree. And I don't have him here. I have him coming up in a little bit, but I'll talk about him here while we're here. I think you're right. Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown are fast. They're speed. They're going to move a lot. That's what that offense wants to do. They're going to move around, and I think Xavier Worthy, he's going to have his spike weeks, but a decoy a lot early on. But because he's so fast, the defense has to basically they have to believe him. They have to cover for it. So they're going to have to buy into it. I think you're right. It's going to open things up again for Kelce a little bit more on this offense. And I hate to say, hold on, where's he at here? But 100+ catch season coming in for Kelce again. So
I can see it.
So definitely could see that as well. He's going to feast. I think by adding Worthy and Brown, they fix their offensive problems. Another big season for Mahomes is probably also in store here. Not just Kelce.
Absolutely.
We're probably wouldn't be shocked if he wins another MVP now. Again, another 5,000-yard, 50 touchdown season coming from him.
That would be crazy.
I have old Krusty there at 17. Devontae Adams. You're gonna have him coming up a little bit later. It might be maybe because I believe in Gardner Minshew a little bit more. I like him. I think he's going to win that battle or be the quarterback for them. And I do think you'll get what you get out of Devontae Adams. You're going to get. I don't know if you're never going to get what you got before out of Devontae Adams, but you're going to get what you usually get out of Devontae Adams still, which is a heavy target share. Lots and lots of targets again. An easy back-end wide receiver one. I don't know. We'll see, depending on how good the quarterback play is there out of them, how high it could get. But at the very least, I think you're getting borderline top 10 wide receiver still out of Devontae Adams. And that's kind of where I'll take him. That's why I have him I have him bunched with Olave, Harrison, and Adams for that reason. I think those are the three that I would take in that spot before I get into my running backs, which we'll talk about then. That's kind of why I grouped them there. More safety.
Yeah.
This round's more of that's just the safety net pick before we get a little before we gamble a little bit. And that's kind of what we're gonna do for me, at least coming up with some of these running backs. So I'll take that safety net before I get to that point. But 18. So now you got Chris Olave. So go ahead. You can talk about him now.
Basically like what you said, I think
Okay.
I think with Kubiak in that offense, I think he's from the 49ers. He was an OC in Minnesota. I think if Carr has a good season, we can keep Carr healthy. I think Olave is going to be great. Like you said, he's a yak monster. I think third year, big breakout could be coming. Bigger than even his rookie year. I mean, he had a bit of a down season last year, but it seemed like towards the end of the year he kind of turned it on. And I think they just need to figure out how to use him, because the old offense, it just didn't work. It was just a bunch of dump offs to Kamara. They tried to run the ball.
Love Kubiak, by the way. That's who I wanted the Bears to get.
Yeah, no, I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be good there. I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Saints offense, and I get a lot of grief for that. But
that's why
Olave's great.
I'm falling back
As
into
a
the
player,
Olave.
Right? And I think, for me, we got to rely on Derek Carr, and you know what you get with Derek Carr. It's a big roller coaster. But if he can get the ball to him, if they can get on the same page, because there was a time last year, I think it was a Monday night game, Carr was yelling at him, and you ran the wrong route. It was ugly. It was really ugly. But as the season progressed towards the end, it seemed like they started to click, and hopefully that carries over in with a better offense.
I saw that too. I was a little late on that one, but yeah, target's definitely not an issue. Stay healthy, and hopefully the quarterback's good. But yeah, Derek Carr might not be a great real life quarterback, and they're not going to win a Super Bowl with him, but he's 100% serviceable in making Chris Olave a fantasy monster. That's for sure. So that one part I don't worry. And then I have Travis Etienne there, who's not even in your second round. So that's I just don't know. It was a tale of two seasons. I get it for Etienne last year. First half of the year, poof, bona fide top 3 running back, was a stud. Carried your fantasy team probably the first half of the season. Did for most. Then just turned into a ghost the rest of the season. And I just wonder if he wore out, because he ran into the ground last year. So the usage was great. Just the output just wasn't towards the end of the year. That offensive line, that's another problem for them. But I don't see anything changing on volume for him. And I do see the O-line being a little bit better. So maybe, just based on volume alone, his usage, because he gets both facets of the game, rushing and receiving, that I feel like he's a safe back-end RB1 option. And that's kind of that's why I would take him where I'm taking them there in the second round. Might not
volume should be there.
But he'll get you there. And there's upside. Who knows? Maybe he puts it all together next year and he does a full year of what we saw in that first half. Possible. That O-line sucked and he ran out of gas. Maybe O-line's improved and ready to go this season, doesn't run out of gas. It's plain and simple. Volume is king when it comes to running backs. We all know that. And that's one thing I know he's going to get is that. Next up, interesting here. So I'm going to ask you once we get to it, though. So Sam Laporta, you don't have him bunched with Kelsey. You split him by Olave. So you would take, instead of bunching them, you wouldn't take either Kelsey or Laporta. You take Olave over Laporta, huh?
See, like I said, again, it depends on your format. If we're talking tight end premium, I'm moving Kelsey and Laporta up towards the top of this,
Oh,
because I think they're going to be monsters. But I think the elite tight end this year can give you an edge in a lot of leagues, whether it's premium or not. I think the Lions offense is good. I don't trust Goff as much as I trust Mahomes. Obviously, I think Amon-Ra is clearly the number one option in Detroit, and I think Kelsey's the number one in Kansas City. So that, to me, that's the differentiator right there. I think.
Yeah, but Laporta's easily the number 2. Even when we're talking about Amon-Ra, we talk.
He's 1 or 2. A lot of people have him as their
Jameson
1, and that's fine. I don't have any issue if you have Laporta as your number 1 tight end. And I understand it. He had a monster season last year. I go with consistency. Everyone's worried about Kelsey's age. I'm not. I thought I was last year, but he proved me wrong. You know, in that playoff run, that was vintage Kelsey. You know, and I think Laporta, he's going to grow. That offense is going to grow. I think if Jameson does play, that actually opens up more of the field for Laporta. So that's another thing. That gives in golf, you know, he doesn't have a big arm. He has a good arm. You know, he's better at home. You know, all these splits. You know, we'll see if that carries over to this year. But Laporta's a monster, and he can definitely give you an edge. You know, all these elite tight ends really take them.
Yeah. So there's only 6 of them, really, I think, elite tight ends, when I kind of looked at the list. But the issue with that is, I know everybody says it's deep, but the issue with that is I don't want to be one without one this year. I don't want to be the one that's left at the end that doesn't get one. Between what you're going to see when we get into 25 through 36, I want one of them. So the rest of them are going to come up in round 3. So if I don't get one of the ones here in the back end of round 2, I'm making sure that I get one of the next ones when I get to the next round.
And you don't want to chase tight end points because you're never going to catch up. So if you get an elite tight end, you know, you're locking in some guaranteed points there. Like you said, there's about 6 of them. I mean, you know, 6 or 7, depending on how you view it. But overall, I think that's going to give you an edge most weeks because the teams that have to start the bottom of the barrel tight ends, you know, you can make up ground at running back. You can make up ground at receiver in some cases. But tight end is a cliff. It's a massive cliff for me.
It made more sense when there was only 4 good tight ends, and then you had a chance of playing 8 teams that had a streaming tight end. That's how it used to. That's how it was for a while, really. Then it made sense you could wait because you were going to face most teams that streamed it most of the time. This year, you're not. You're going to face a team that has a monster tight end. So I'm going to get that out of the way also. So I agree there. I'm in the back of the first round, mostly because if I can get one of these running backs that I have listed here, I would. And then I would try to come back in round 3 with your Kincaid, Pitts, Ingram area, or McBride, obviously, first, and then the rest of the guys I just named. That's why I would kind of do it that way. But I'm definitely making sure that I'm leaving one of them. And I agree, Laporta, easy money. That offense is going to go. Everybody return. I'm not a big Jameson Williams guys. So yeah, set it and forget it out of him. I have Derrick Henry there though. He's coming up for you have him in the second round too, but I got him there just right after Travis Etienne. I think workload again. He's going to be a running back who touches the football a crap ton of times, and he could fall into 15 touchdowns on the Ravens this year. And most likely you're looking at an RB1 again. So I'm going to try to get him too there in that second round. It's just a safety net, 250 plus carries, probably 10 touchdowns. Not a whole lot of receiving work, but still he'll make up for it. He's a beast still. I saw him working out. I saw that video that he posted too. Good God, he's a fucking animal. Jesus.
He's a monster.
There is no code for him. So when people say he's 30, just throw that out the window. Like there's zero code for Derrick Henry. Nobody's ever seen a Derrick Henry really before. So you can't really judge by that. He looks like he's in great shape. I wouldn't be happy with him in the second round, like I said. And then I move back to my tight ends in the third. Another guy that you don't have in here as we get to 20. You have Drake London. I have Kyron Williams there.
Tell me why Kyron there.
So
Sell me on it because I'm not sold.
I don't see. So there's 2 things to this for me. Number 1, it's redraft, right? So for me, it's what is it? Risk. It's risk mitigation when you draft in a sense per se. Like even if he gets 60% of the workload and Corum does eat into it, he's probably useful still. Kyron Williams is. So it's not like it'll bomb unless he gets hurt. But for me, I don't know. Even though I'm a Michigan fan, I hate saying this. I don't necessarily think he's going to eat into that much of it, as long as Kyron Williams is healthy. He was pretty damn good last year. They just had nothing else after him, like nothing. Everybody they went through like 6 guys that they rotated in and out. So I think they had no. And even though McVay loves to draft running backs, we all know that. But I think they had to do it this year, and now they actually have like a solidified RB2 there. And sure, he might eat into some carries, but I see still he was too good last year, and I see the workload there for Kyron Williams this year. And the risk for me, you're taking him in the third anyways. So that's where if you're going to take him, then he's only falling back to that point. I'm okay with him in 2 still. You're a Corum guy, I know. So
I do believe in Corum. I agree with you that Kyron will be the starter. He's going to get the majority of the work. But I think last year he was – they had no other options, obviously, so they used him every down. And I'm just not sure he can replicate last year at all. He's a guy that I'm pretty much just passing on in my draft. I let somebody else take him. If he has a great season, congratulations to you. Me personally, I'm out. There's so many other backs that I would rather have than him, including your next one there at 21. Yeah, me personally, I'm just not a Kyron guy. I try to avoid him. I'd rather just take a shot on Corum later and just see what happens.
Yeah, I get the pass blocking thing, but he as a runner, he was too good. Can he repeat that? I don't know. That was insane. Some of the metrics he put up, so I don't know if he does repeat it, but I'm willing to take it at the back end of the second round and try.
And a lot of people were taking Kyron in the second, so I may be the one who's wrong on him, and I'm okay with that. I'll own that. I'll eat that loss. But I think for me personally, I'm just going to pass on him altogether this year.
I've had some bad second round picks in the history, and I've still done okay in the league. So like, as long as I'm okay with like I just said, the whole risk mitigation part of this. It's redraft. Again, that's in Dynasty, I'm a hell of a lot more worried. And no chance would I do that there. But in redraft, I'm a little bit more lenient to go ahead and still take him where I take him. Like, he moved back, really. If Corum does not get drafted to the Rams, where are you drafting Kyron Williams? The first round. That's what it boils down to. So it stems to a lot of, do you buy into the Corum thing and do you see regression? Because it's guaranteed if Corum does not get drafted by the Rams, everyone's taking him in the top 12 picks. But we'll see. He is definitely he's either your cup of tea or he's not your cup of tea. I see him so drastically spread out. Like, you either like him, you love him, or you hate him. He's one of those players. So Next up, I have just a safety valve at the back end of these running backs. And you got your guy, who I don't have here. But I have Isaiah Pacheco, the Rhino, the guy who I love. I love watching him run a football. No one is more angry than him, and he runs. Jesus, it's fun to watch. They didn't really do much, right? They didn't do anything else. There's no really other running back competition there. So I could see Pacheco workload, maybe even we saw the back end of that year, 70% snap share. So I could see it for a full year. I could see it. I could see him being the guy in Kansas City. And when you're the guy in Kansas City and you're on the field a whole lot, you just fall into 15 touchdowns, which could happen too for him because they're always going to be in the red zone nonstop. That's what they are with Mahomes. So I could see a big touchdown year out of him, double-digit touchdowns, heavy usage again. I'm not saying he's going to be a top 5 running back, some league winner. I hate using that term, but I think he's going to be enough to be a RB1 this year. Might be RB10, might be RB11, something like that. And it's safety here for me. So at least if I take him, I get it. It's something that I know what I'm going to get. And then again, I can kind of switch over to tight end in round 3. So that's why I have Pacheco there.
Well, and I've seen lately, there's been a lot of chatter, some people are saying he's kind of the dark horse for the RB1, this year because of his workload and that offense, and his usage is going to be off the charts. He's going to get a lot of goal line work. He's going to catch a few passes here and there. But the way, like you said, the way he runs, he's just angry. He's going to run somebody over. He's going to hurt somebody. I don't know. Right. A lot of collisions, it takes its toll, and I mean, this will be his 3rd year now, so we'll see. But I mean, I like him a lot. I have him in my 3rd round, but no arguments there.
It's tough. This bunch now, where we got him, and then I get through these last couple guys, and then the first 2 guys I have in round 3, I'll just preview it now, are James Cook and Rachaad White. It's a bunch that's very close. It's closer together, even though they're separated by a round. So it was very hard to maneuver these guys around. Something could change in the next 3 weeks, and I do change them around. This is obviously still a little ways out from the draft, but so it's all close. But you have Brandon, you got your guy, BA. Second round pick for him, huh?
So I have, I got
Explain
London,
that.
Ayuk, London, and Collins for me. They're interchangeable. That's all personal preference.
I know Doc
For
would
me,
be happy with
London.
Collins.
Well, the thing with London for me is this is obviously the best quarterback he's ever had. He's a good receiver. He's solid. He's had Ritter and Heineke, and it's been terrible. I don't like him as an early second, but a late second, I'm all in. From then you go to Ayuk, obviously, and I'm unbiased as a Niners fan. We know but we saw the numbers he put up last year. What do you have? 75 catches, 1,300 yards. I think he can replicate that. Everyone's worried about the contract situation, and for me, this team always signs their guys late in the offseason, right as training camp starts, some into training camp, like with Debo. Last year, Bosa got paid at the end of training camp, right before the season. I have a
You have been
lot
on
of
that train, by the
confidence.
way. You've been tooting that horn that he's getting signed. He's not getting traded all along.
Yes, the team has all the leverage with him. He can't sit out the season because then he just comes back next year, and you don't want to waste a year in your prime, right? He wants to get paid, and honestly, I don't see why he can't blow up again. See, got the chat. There we go. See, we got the chat. They know. But for me, Ayuk he's a stud. You put him on another team. You put him on a team like Kansas City, that's more pass first, unlike the Niners. Because obviously McCaffrey's the heart and soul of that offense. But people are going to be talking about him differently. I just think the situation with the offense. They're going to ask him to block more. His route running is elite. I mean, you saw it last year, and I still think he's going to get better than that.
You want to know what I would love? You're going to hate me for this. Because as a real life Niner fan, you're going to hate me for this. Everybody that's a real life Niner fan is going to hate. I would love to see them trade Deebo Samuel, is what I would like. And then I feel like I'd move him up easily for me.
Well, here's the thing with Deebo. I think after this season, there's a good chance Deebo's gone after this year. I mean, with his contract, I believe they can get out of it now. And that's why I don't understand why they wouldn't pay Ayuk. You know what I'm saying? Like, the money's there. They can make it work. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if Deebo's gone after this season. He's that wild card. He's that jack of all trades. But Ayuk is that clear-cut wide receiver, gets down the field. Like I said, his route running, his separation, everything. It's all there. And I think
he's good. He's a monster.
He is.
I'm not going to dispute that. So I just wish I kind of feel like what he is last year is what he is. That's where he'll finish again, just based on the offense and workload and everything that goes into him. But Deebo does get hurt, right? So is it the same thing as the Cooper Kupp thing that we were talking about with?
No.
I
don't personally think so.
I'm not talking about the player. I'm talking about Deebo does get hurt. And if Deebo's out, where do you rank BA each week then? So where does Brandon Ayuk rank for you if you don't have Deebo out there?
Well, here's the thing for me. I think Ayuk kind of ranks the same. Kittle's the one who benefits. Kittle's always been the one who benefited from Ayuk being out or Deebo being out. So I think Ayuk, I mean, obviously he's still the number one receiver on that team because Deebo, he kind of just does everything. He runs the ball, he catches the ball, and he's a monster with it in his hands. But right, we drafted Pearsall, we drafted Cowing, and we'll see. I think they want to evolve to a downfield passing team, with opening up the field for McCaffrey. McCaffrey's only got a couple good years left, I mean, running back, and with that workload and the usage he's had. So we'll see. But for me, Ayuk stays.
I'm nitpicking, but I'm nitpicking by a couple spots, like I just told you. But when we're dealing with 4 spots, I have to nitpick those few things, and that's the only. There's, like I said, he's got that Venn diagram, your pros and your cons, and what's in the middle. Like, that's why I'm nitpicking. I do like Brandon Ayuk, and he's going to be early 3rd round for me too. So it's not like he's far off from this list. So I feel bad nitpicking, but yeah. Now that one I could agree. The next one I'm not going to agree with you on. So, but this I can see Ayuk there. But the Nico Collins thing, go ahead for that, because that one I have way for. He's going to end up way further down than I think in my 3rd round. But go ahead.
like like I said, I think those three are kind of interchangeable, right? Depends on what your preference is. Nico is the wide receiver one in that offense. They paid him as such. I understand they brought in Diggs, and Diggs is kind of he's a malcontent. If he doesn't get the ball, it's going to be trouble. But Stroud loves Dell. Stroud had a great connection with Nico. I don't know if you can discount him, in that offense. I think that offense it's going to explode again. I think, no one expected Stroud to do what he did last year, obviously. Because he was going so late, and Nico, same thing, he's going double-digit rounds, and he more than paid off. So as the leader of that team at the receiver room, I think he's going to eat again. It's just I don't know what his numbers will be on a week-to-week basis. That's the only thing that could be troublesome, a little inconsistent sometimes. Sometimes it could be Dell, sometimes it could be Nico, sometimes it'll be Diggs.
It's the same problem I have with the Bears. It's the same problem I have with Seattle. I had the problem last year with Seattle. So many mouths to feed when you have three legit, really good wide receivers. That yes, the week-to-week variance sometimes is a little too much for me to take them that early. That is, because I can't pencil in the same workload each week. Because they could shift off, and Nico could have 2 weeks where he has 2 catches for 30 yards, and it's Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell time, and then vice versa. It goes back the other way. I do like Nico. He's just going to be a little bit further down for me, and it's because there's a lot to go around there. So
like in the chat here,
a little too rich for my blood.
I don't disagree with what Mike is saying here with Nico, right? I mean,
so he's
Dell
taking the
and
price.
Stroud
That's the kind of the way, yeah.
Right.
And I've seen Diggs fall if you're gonna. It's actually I agree with Mike. If I was gonna take one of them, that's how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take the last one or the cheapest one of the three, because then if you do get an injury to Nico or Diggs or anything like that, you just got a nice steal out of the one that you took that late. You got some. See, Nico to the moon.
The Aram knows.
Yeah, I would prefer best ball. I'd love it. That would be where I would, you know what I'm saying? So like best ball, I'd be way more comfortable with Nico Collins. In a redraft daily lineup, like that's where I just can't get myself on board with Nico in the second round. How many passes do you expect CJ Stroud to throw this year? Like 650? No, there's no chance, right? It's not going to happen. So probably somewhere around 500.
It could be that. I think, but here's the thing, though. I think last year Schultz, he had a bigger role. I think his role's reduced now. See, obviously, you have, like I said, you have Diggs, you have Nico, you have Dell. If Dell stays healthy all year, every week, like you said, it's going to be somebody different. But I still think Nico is the alpha in that offense. He's the number one guy.
See, Dalton Schultz is going to have his weeks, though, still. When you're in an offense that good, there'll be the weeks where Dalton Schultz has his weeks. Just like the Cole Kmet theory. I don't know. You can start them with confidence at all in a lineup league compared to best ball, but because you are right, he's probably going to be the fourth man out, the odd man out there, fourth fiddle in that offense. But still,
he might even be fifth if you factor in Mixon. Joe Mixon's going to have a role. I don't know if he's going to catch as many passes, here, but I think as they're going to run the ball too. I don't know. For me, I don't know how I can pass on Nico at that late of the second round.
Yeah, see, I see what you're thinking too. Off the mark, I get it. Targets are targets, though, right? And if they're splitting between three, some weeks it's going to go down a lot. Some weeks you might only see even 2 or 3. So it's going to be.
If I can get the number one, right? If I can get the number one receiver in an offense like that, I'm going to do it.
I'm fine with it. It's just second round is where I have a little issue. Like I'd rather have the more steady workload, maybe even a safe floor at that point. But to each their own. I mean, he's going to come back anyways in the back. Like I think end of the third is kind of where. But I have him and Diggs so close. We'll talk. That's a whole other topic when we get to that one. Diggs is an interesting one too. When we get to that, it's hard to pass on both of them at some point, though. Next, obviously, then is where I have Travis Kelce and Sam Laporta. So I have them bunched together, right, basically at the end of round 2. If I can't get any of those running backs, some of those safety blankets at wide receiver, I'll take one of those tight ends. And then that's kind of why I have them ranked there. And they're side by side. Whichever one's there at that point is the one I take. I'll take Travis Kelce first. If he's not there, I'd take Sam Laporta there. That's why I have him. We talked about him already. I'm not going to say anything different.
Right.
But I definitely want a elite tight end. I'm not going to be one of the 4 teams that don't have one this season. So I'll get that out of the way and call it a day. But I'm going to put him back there. And if I can't get one of them, we're going right away in round 3. That's where you now come with Devontae Adams. So now you can talk about him.
For me, Devontae, I love him as a player. I just worry about the quarterback situation. I've read things that Aiden O'Connell's leading the race to start. Possibly they're going to split work. I prefer Minshew personally. Minshew he carried Pittman last year, and Devontae's a target hog. Like you said, the volume for him. It's just I don't know where to take him now. When Derek Carr was there, obviously I had him as a first round pick a couple years ago with Derek Carr. That's his buddy from college. They have chemistry. But now I don't know what to do with him. I still like him as an elite alpha. I mean, he should eat in that offense still. He's going to be the focal point, obviously. Jacoby Myers is there. He'll get some work. Bowers, again, is he elite? Not yet. Who knows? I don't know. Michael Mayer, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how the offense is going to work now. I want to see it. But it's kind of like late second, early third. I might take a gamble on him. Why not? Because you might be surprised.
I got him early second. I don't think it doesn't. I would prefer Minshew. Personally, I would.
For sure.
I think the offense is better with Minshew. I know Aiden O'Connell, he looked okay at times though last year. But regardless,
he terrible against Kansas City.
I mean, I expected that though. It was going to be up and down with him. But either way, I think he'd get the ball to Devontae Adams. So that's the only part I really care about. I don't really give a crap how good the Raiders are in real life. It's the same thing with Derek Carr. Can you get the ball to the wide receiver? And I trust that Devontae, regardless, is going to see the workload. He's still worth the second round pick. Preferably, though, I'd like Minshew. I think that offense obviously goes. I also just like Minshew, period. He's just more fun.
I do too, right? It just makes the game more interesting. He's
your guy to root for. He's a wild
just
dude.
Slinging the ball. He don't care.
Nope. Throws picks. Don't matter. Whatever. He got his bandana on. His hair's waving all over the place.
His mustache.
Looks like a dude who he wears his ripped jean shorts.
Yeah, his jorts.
Probably immediately when he leaves the game, buys a case of beer, just sits in the back of a pickup truck after the game, pounding shotgun beers.
What did he have? He had like an RV or something he was living in?
An RV.
A couple years ago? Yeah.
He's like Uncle Rico in real life. So
that's exactly it.
Cooler version of him, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, you heard what I said about him. Massive. Another 170 target season for Devontae Adams, probably. Last up, I skipped him on yours so we could talk about him at the same time. I have him at the end. You have him a little ahead. Drake London. I am all on board. The breakout's coming. I strongly believe that. I just would rather pay where I'm paying, where I have him, like right at that turn of the third round, and get somebody else to pair with him. But I absolutely, do not blame you for where you have him ranked. Not at all. To the moon with Drake London. So go ahead, though.
Like I said, he's had bad quarterbacks his whole career in the pros. I think he was going early second in a lot of drafts early on. I don't feel comfortable with him there. But late second, early third, I'm more interested, Like you said, I mean, with Kirk Cousins, he's going to lock onto him. But there's a lot of debate. Is it Drake London? Is it Kyle Pitts? Who's the number one guy in that offense? We don't know yet. Obviously, I think Bijan's the focal point of that offense. He's going to run the ball. He's going to catch the ball. He's going to score more touchdowns. I think he's going to be great this year because they don't have Arthur Smith. And they have a real NFL quarterback now. So, and another thing, that offensive line is built for run and pass block, I think. They're top notch. So they should keep Cousins upright. He's going to find London. He's going to find Pitts. It's just a matter of who do you prefer. I don't know.
What scheme are they bringing over offensively?
The Rams. It's the Rams. So, I mean, they got Zach Robinson. Raheem Morris running the defense. So, but I don't know how he fits. I don't see his game being like Puka or Cooper Cup or Robert. I don't know where his game is in that offense. That's my only thing. I do like London as a player, though.
They'll figure out a way, even if he doesn't fit even if he's not an exact puzzle piece that's the same shape as Puka or Cooper Cup for that instance.
Yeah.
There's plenty in that offense to go around for both Pitts and Drake London this year. And I do think the entire passing game will go through those two. I even like, as a late throw, Darnell Mooney in that offense. I don't know if you could trust starting him ever, to be honest with you, but
he's a good best ball pick.
But yeah, so there you go. The best ball pick for sure there. A lot of people are also going to come back with, you just never seen Drake London be good, regardless of quarterback play. The stuff that he can control, he still wasn't good. It's just, that's too much nonsense for me. I think we're digging too deep now into metrics I don't like to dig deep in. That quarterback play was shit there. Some of the worst in the NFL. You bring in the Rams system, a true good veteran quarterback in Kirk Cousins this year. The sky's the limit. Pitts, London, I think both are, you're going to see their, Pitt's rookie year kind of was a breakout, right? And then he went MIA for a little while. But I think if we want to call it,
he had a real quarterback.
Yep.
Pitts
but I
is
think
hard
if
for
we're
me.
going to
Pitts
call
is
it breakout,
hard.
we're going to get the breakout this year. So I think we get a bona fide Drake London breakout. And I'm okay with taking him right there at the end of the second round. I could pair him with one of, if I'm taking him there, I'm pairing him with one of those tight ends. So there you go.
Yeah.
I would if I could start Breece Hall, Drake London, and Trey McBride, for instance, sign me up. I'd be completely on board with that. And that's kind of where I have him ranked and why I have him ranked where I rank him. So.
Agreed.
And then Derrick Henry, go ahead. You can talk about him since I hog him.
No, you're fine. I mean, for me, I agree with everything you said with Derrick Henry, the volume. He's in the best team he's ever been on. I mean, Tennessee had some good teams, but I think this Baltimore offense, it's just perfect. I mean, Gus Edwards had, 13 touchdowns last year? I don't see why Derrick Henry doesn't match that. I don't know if he gets as much yardage, but I mean, even in bad Tennessee, in bad Tennessee years, he's had 1,000 yards and double-digit touchdowns. I don't see why he can't do that. As far as the touchdowns, 10 to 12, 13, maybe 14. I don't know. He's just going to fall in the end zone. He's just a little bit older, but the shape that he's in, I don't know if wear and tear matters. I don't even know if he's human. I don't know. He's not somebody I would ever want to try to tackle. I don't know if you've ever seen his high school stats.
He's like a freight train. That's what he is.
Yeah. I can't even imagine. I mean, no, I'm good. I mean, you've seen the highlights where he turned, was it Earl Thomas
2 plates on his neck, and he's
he's a monster.
No, I'm not trying to tackle him.
But the only thing is, in that offense, Lamar's going to run the ball a little bit. I kind of look at him like with JT. They both have running quarterbacks, and I think, around the goal line, they're going to do some creative stuff. We'll see how Todd Monken's offense goes in year 2. But, I mean, obviously, Derrick Henry just feels very safe to me. I mean, you can take him earlier in the second if you want.
It's a dangerous rushing attack. Dangerous rushing attack. And that's what makes Derrick Henry more appealing, too. That's why I like Jonathan Taylor. Even if they lose some touchdowns to their quarterback, I still think there's going to be plenty of touchdowns for them both moving forward.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah, Derrick Henry. It could be the end, though. Well, we say this every year too. I always laugh. Like, is this the last year? And then every year it's like, nope, he's got another big one in him.
Can't rule him out.
He's a unicorn in regards that you've never seen him before. Never.
Right.
There's no model to him. But all right. Anyways, like we did last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever we did this, I'm going to let you run through your list and just basically break down a little bit about each player. This makes my life easier to make the shorts, obviously. That's what we're doing here. We're just recording it live as we're doing it. But go ahead.
So for me, having Gibbs, the end of the first, early second, his rushing, his receiving, sky's the limit. The upside is there. He's a breakaway back. Simple dump off can turn into a house call. Barkley, I love him in this new offense. Best offensive line, best offense he's probably ever played for. I expect at least double-digit touchdowns. He catches the ball some. will take some of that burden off of Hurts, and I think that offense will be really dynamic. JT, he's got a rushing quarterback, but I think that's going to open up some interesting lanes for him. Another double-digit touchdown guy for me. Marvin Harrison Jr., I think in that offense, Kyler's going to force feed him the ball. I feel very comfortable taking him mid to late second. I mean, maybe early second for you, depending on your preference. But I think you could probably put him in there for 1,000 yards, 8 to 10, 8 to 12 touchdowns, depending on what you prefer for your ratings. Kelsey, he's my tight end one. I think Mahomes is going to lock on to him. 100 catches is doable. Maybe 900,000 yards, somewhere in there. Double-digit touchdowns. They added some receiving weapons. They're going to open up the field for him. Chris Olave, new OC. If we can trust Derek Carr to get him the ball, I think he's going to be great. Good yak, 1,000 yards. I give him about eight touchdowns, maybe somewhere in that range. Laporta, tight end one, tight end two, your preference. I think in that offense, Goff's going to find him. Amon-Ra is the number one target, but he's 1B, I guess you could say. I think he's gonna have a monster season as well. London, Ayuk, and Collins. Choose your guy. I think they're all about the same in that range. You can all pencil them in for about 75 receptions, about 1,000 yards, 7-8 touchdowns, maybe more. Who knows? Devontae Adams, another one. If Minshew's the starter, I think he'll get him the ball. He carried Pittman last year. I think he can carry Devontae again. This year with a new team. They brought him in, they paid him, so maybe they believe in him. Unless Aiden O'Connell just comes out and wins the job. But I kind of like Adams there at the late second, and then Derrick Henry, 1,000 yards, double-digit touchdowns every week. Not going to catch the ball a lot, but he's going to be a monster this year.
Thank you, sir, for running that down. For me, 13, we'll start there. Garrett Wilson, Ohio State. Damn Ohio State guys.
Yeah.
Sky's the limit for
on
him with a healthy Aaron. Yeah, no. That sucks. I didn't even realize that. They're all on there. Holy shit, the whole core is on there. You want to know what's best about that though? Is at least now we have a national championship. And so I don't really care too much. Like whatever. So
always have this.
You know what that means real quick before I do it.
You know what to do. Hail to the victors, valiant. Hail to the country.
I had to do it one time there, just for us.
Always.
I
Get
had
in
to
there
get
every
it.
time.
But yeah, so Garrett Wilson, anyway, sky's the limit. Healthy Aaron Rodgers. Eve will be the focal point of that offense, even if we know they're going to be a running team, good defense, but should all go to Wilson. Mike Williams, always banged up. He's even as the second option there, nothing really too appealing. Nothing that eats into Garrett Wilson to me. So heavy workload there, top 5 potential. Saquon Barkley. Last year, I hate doing the whole head coach or the offensive coordinator thing, but I did look back and I looked at it. And under Kellen Moore, running backs, they average around 90 targets a season under Kellen Moore. Last year, Jalen Hurts threw the football 90 times to running backs. This year, you don't have to worry about it's being split by anybody else, right? It's going to be Saquon Barkley. He's going to be on the field the entire time. That entire workload is going to go to him. So there's first-round upside, league-winning upside to Saquon Barkley this season. There's 1,700 total yards in him, double-digit touchdowns within him. So Saquon Barkley, early second-round pick for me. Chris Olave, I had mentioned this again. Under Kubiak, I think this offense is going to be more short and yak. And I think Olave is going to eat doing that. It's not going to be a downfield attack per se, but it's going to be awesome for Chris Olave and PPR. So I'm putting him back up here again. I'm falling back into this trap with Chris Olave. Year 3, this is the year. Plus, I love Kubiak, and that's who I really wish the Bears got. Damn it. But whole other topic. Next, Marvin Harrison Jr., first rookie on the board. I have him here at 16. It's his show. That's it, right? He walks right into day one being the number 1 target for Kyler Murray, and it's just him and Trey McBride. So it's his to lose at this point, and I don't think he's going to lose it. He's as talented as could possibly be. the one thing I will say that we talked about before, even if he starts off slow a couple weeks in, as he adjusts to it, he's going to be a big buy low target for me. That's what I'm waiting for to see. If it does happen, it might not even happen. Next up, Devontae Adams. I don't care who the quarterback is. I do like Minshew. Heavy workload's going to be there for Devontae Adams again. He's older. That's the only little risk about him to me. 31 years old. So now the injury risk kind of plays into it, but he was still really good last year. I would prefer Minshew to be the quarterback, but I'll take either one still with Devontae Adams. Next up, Travis Etienne. Tale of two halves last year. Regardless of what those two halves were, the workload was insane for him. And I don't see anything changing there at all. They didn't bring anybody. Remember the Tank Bigsby hype? Remember that? Yeah. Remember the Dynasty community went bonkers for Tank Bigsby last year, and nothing came out of that. There's nothing there. So it's the Travis Etienne show again. I think the offensive line is going to be better too. So maybe that whole offense is better this year. Calvin Ridley or rookie Brian Thomas Jr. There you go. I knew I was mixed up. Still. So who knows? Maybe Trevor Lawrence cooks a little bit more this year. Helps out Travis Etienne. Next up, Derek. I'm running out of breath running this down. Next up, Derrick Henry. Easy 250 carries, probably 12 to 15. I'm being bold when I say 15 touchdowns, but I could see 15 touchdowns out of Derrick Henry this year. He's just going to fall into the end zone for 12 of them alone. So once again, we're looking at probably 1,200 rushing yards. He's my pick to lead the NFL in rushing this year again. Not combined yards, not total yards, but in rushing yards. I think Derrick Henry takes that crown. King Henry also scores 15 touchdowns, and King Henry is a second-round pick for me. Again, Kyren Williams is next. I know you hate Kyren Williams. I'm not a Kyren hater. I'm a Michigan fan, but I also don't think Blake Corum is going to eat that heavily into what we saw Kyren Williams do last season. So I still think we see Kyren Williams get the lion's share of that load, and he was too good for me to pass up on. I love the McVay system for running backs, especially when they're using a primary one. So I'm going back in on Kyren Williams this year. Too good. He was too good for me to pass that up. Next up, the Rhino, Isaiah Pacheco. You said it. Some people are being bold. Could be the RB1 this year because why? Well, he's going to be on the field a lot. He is the guy now. So we should see the workload could be massive for him. We could even see more out of the pass game out of Pacheco this year. He's on the Chiefs. They're going to be in the red zone all the time. So it's another double-digit touchdown type guy. So even at the very least, you got a safe back-end RB1 most weeks out of Isaiah Pacheco. So I take him there. Next up, I have Travis Kelce and Sam Laporta. I will group them together. I find them very similar. I do think we could see a bigger season out of Travis Kelce again. I would take him ahead of time. I do think Worthy and Brown there. Worthy could be more of a decoy early on. So when we get way later in rankings, we'll talk about Xavier Worthy. But I think he's a decoy. I think you're going to have to basically acknowledge his speed, and defenses are going to have to acknowledge him being on the field. And with Brown out there now, we'll see how long Rashid Rice is out. But when they're all out there, it's going to open things up for Travis Kelce again. Could be a monster year incoming again for Travis Kelce. He just is getting old too. That's the only not like really old, right? He's 34 years old.
That's ancient.
Whew, that is old in the NFL. But he said it. Put it all on me. Give me the biggest load you can handle. Is basically in his words what he said. Sam Laporta. I don't know if he's going to repeat exactly what he did last year. He's not great I could see the same workload. I don't know if he's going to have to score touchdowns though again. So he's definitely going to have to get his fair share of touchdowns to kind of get back to where he was. But I think he can do it, and I think he can improve in some of the other areas where he lacked last season. Next up, Drake London will tally the end for me. It hasn't been a great start for him. He's had the worst quarterback play in the NFL. Now enters a Sean McVay system with Kirk Cousins running it. Drake London, the breakout's coming. You can either get on board now and get him, or be bad you didn't draft him. And it's just like that. Yeah. Oh, I'm out of breath now. The rundowns are tough. You don't really get a break. You just got to keep going and going and going. But it makes it easier.
Just get it done.
Makes it easier for me to basically. There you go. I knew he was going to correct me on about. That's his guy, by the way, Brian Thomas Jr. That's what I
He's
meant to
another
say.
one. Like I'm interested to see how he factors into that Jacksonville offense.
I think
I still think Kirk and Ingram are the 1 and 2. And then you got Gabe Davis. Who knows? And then Thomas. I mean, he might start off slow, but I think towards the end of the year he could really blow up.
In redraft, I think Brian Thomas Jr. I think he's sneaky where he's going to. Like he's kind of his ADP is nice. Like it could be a slow start for Brian Thomas Jr. too. It's one of those things where it could grow. His role's going to grow obviously as the season goes. I kind of like him though, where he's going ADP wise. Because if there's anyone where you're taking that late that has a chance, would it be out of the world if he took over Christian Kirk's role as the one in that offense? No,
Yes.
not at all.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
No.
Not this year.
I don't. That one I won't agree with. Kirk's good. Don't get me wrong. He's a decent player in the NFL.
Kirk is underrated.
He's not an alpha. Like that is for sure. You're like a prototypical slot guy to me is what he is. Like I could see Brian Thomas becoming. I could see a better version of what we saw Calvin Ridley last year. I don't see it this year. I see which
it
actually
in the future,
he kind of spot on with him, by the way, when he said Spike Week better in best ball, because that was kind of what Calvin Ridley was. He was a headache to start every week. And I know I get it. Lawrence loves Kirk, but sometimes like if Brian Thomas Jr. is just good, maybe he'll like him.
The end of the year, into next year, sure. This year,
That's
Nope.
Oh yeah, no. I'm not telling you right off the gate. I'm telling you it's going to be one of those slow builds.
I thought you meant this year
No.
coming up. And I was like,
Well, no, it could be this year, but it could be towards like second half of the season where you're using Brian Thomas Jr. as a flex option in your lineup. That's what I'm saying, and I think it could happen. And he's it's not like he's going that early, so it doesn't really matter. Ladd,
Right.
Who do you like? Probably Ladd, right? Redraft. I'm going to talk redraft only. Ladd or Brian Thomas Jr.
I'm taking Ladd. I feel like there's more safety there. But again, it depends on how does the rest of my team look. Do I need the upside? Do I need the safety? Do I need floor or do I need ceiling? I don't know.
Ladd is being way. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not all in. I like Ladd, but I think he's going a little too early for my blood, to be honest.
Everyone says he's like Julian Edelman light, right?
That's
let's
because he's white.
How they use
Is that
him.
why?
It could be. I don't know if it's a race thing or not. But for me, I just feel like he's just that PPR guy. He's going to catch the.
He's like a prototypical slot guy.
A little bit down the field. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's his role, and we'll see how it goes. But if I'm, upside, obviously Brian Thomas Jr. is the upside. But
man, that's a whole other show. When we talk about rookies of that one, I don't even want to get into that right now because I know
exactly like Daniel said. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
That's like Jim Harbaugh talking more.
A real lunch pail guy, lad.
The blue collar shirt guy.
He's gonna take his licks. He's a slot receiver. Yeah, I know it. It's like the Peter Griffin meme thing, where they're looking at the thing. That's where we're at with Ladd right now. First one in, last one out. See, I do like Ladd though. I shouldn't hate on him. I like him as a dynasty.
You got time to get on board. It's never too late.
No, I actually have him. I have dynasty shares. It's not like I hate him. I think I just I know Harbaugh way too much, and I think that's where I'm a little nervous. It's the same thing with Herbert for me. Like he's good.
Fall, but
he's fallen maybe a little too much, but it's to me it's legit in a sense. It's quarterbacks deep this year. This is redraft I'm talking about. As we're just getting into this just a little bit before we sign off here. Maybe I can get another short out of this. But quarterbacks deep in a redraft league. So that's why I'm skipping over Herbert. I do think they're going to run the shit out of the football. And that's what they're going to be this year. I don't see a whole lot of volume out of Herbert. He's just too good, and he's going to make up for it by scoring touchdowns and being efficient. But I'm staying away from that offense. It'll have its ups and downs.
We'll see.
You know how he is.
Herbert last year, I mean, obviously he was not your quarterback one or whatever, but he was a quarterback one. And I think this year he's more of a QB2, which is fine. But
the
lower he goes,
difference in that offense is major. He's not gonna. Is he gonna run again for 600 yards, though. I don't necessarily think he makes up ground doing that. So, like, that's why I'm skipping him.
But here's the thing with the Chargers, are they going to be able to run the ball when they're trailing? When they're down double digits, they're going to have to throw. And I think they're going to throw more than people expect. I don't know how efficient they're going to be, but I do believe there's going to be more passing volume than people expect. We'll revisit this at the end of the season and see.
We will. I was just going to say, you remember who their head coach is? They're trailing.
I know.
Throw the football 1,000 times still. They're going to run the football still, even trailing.
They're going to mix. I mean, I think it's going to be a mix. And I don't know. Is Gus Edwards, Kamani Vidal, the shell of J.K. Dobbins, is that enough?
You want to know who a lunch pail guy is? Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh is a lunch pail guy.
Yeah, he likes that old brand of football, but we'll see if it works. It's a different game now.
I still laugh that J.J. McCarthy went from the most run-heavy offense in college football, and now he's going to Kevin O'Connell's most pass-happy offense.
With an elite receiver.
Going from having to throw the football 10 times a game to now you got to throw it 40. Well, that's if he wins the job.
But the good thing for him is he's not going to have to worry about it because Darnold's going to start.
Yep. We'll talk rookies, though, a little later.
Oh, yeah.
They're not in redraft. They're so late for me anyways, where I rank a lot of those guys outside of like Marvin Harrison or like the top running back of the class for that matter. I don't like to gamble them too early. So they're free regardless. But anyways, thank you for tuning into this one. That was our round 2. We broke it down. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Sean, go ahead. Sign us off. Tell them where they can find you.
Thank you guys for joining us. You can find me at the green one on X, the X Machine, or Twitter, however you refer to it. It's THA_green_1. Come follow me. Let's chat football here all the time. I live on X. So
you want to know who a lunch pail type of guy, first one in, last one out is? That's Sean. The guy below me is the lunch pail guy. Don't bring up anything. Don't bring up yards per route ran. Don't bring out all these goofy metrics with him. He wants to talk the trenches, the X's and O's, all that stuff. That is the lunch pail guy. That is our lunch pail guy right there. So, yeah, you know where to find him. You can find me at Streets of Don, usually posting some stupid video or in that matter. Good news is there's actually a website now. I will post the URL because I don't know exactly what it is yet. But so Game Breakers does launch on Friday. So we do have some news, and I'll post on that stuff when I have the rest of the info. I don't want to give you any of the bad info for it, but that is cool. So we will have the website up, so you will be able to see all of Sean's ranks and cool stuff there too. And I'll post the link. He'll post the link too when we get there.
Can't wait to get it.
But we'll see you next week when we go through 25 through 36. As we bicker again now about some of these guys that weren't on my list that are going to be on here now.
Yeah.
And do quarterbacks
tell us about your Scott Fishbowl draft?
Oh, finally. Thank God. Jeez, Louise.
Can't wait.
FOMO? Is that the word I'm looking for here? FOMO? Is that what I've watched you draft in Vegas. Even though it was hot as balls, so it was tough to I wasn't missing out too bad on that one when I was like, I can chug a prime energy, like a prime hydration at that point.
Get you one of these fancy.
I will get that finally. Although I do have the Franz on, by the way. The $200 million man now. And then I watched you draft anyways. And then I watched all of the slow drafts start up and everybody's posting their teams and I'm going, man, when do I get to post my fun pick with everybody that I'm doing? At least I got and I can't even use ADP. We were talking about that. That's the funny part. This is the one year I just throw it out the window this year. Everyone's doing mock builds and the reels. The scoring sets up for it nice, but at the same time, there's nothing. I'm just itching badly to finally get this draft going. But yeah, we'll talk about that. We could grade them too. That's what we can do. And also besides doing the rest of the rankings. But now I'm just blabbering on. Nobody wants to hear that. So I will sign off at that point, and we'll just meet back next. Oh, actually, I have to blabber on one more second. I was actually buying time to set this up. That's all. But there we go. Okay, we're ready. See ya.